cup of tea now in the background. So if you hear a kettle boiling, it's him. Oh, it's the kettle, not him, he said. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for coming along tonight for our first Christmas gifts class. We're going to do another one on Sunday, the 27th of this month at 4:30, just spreading it out a little bit different times so that different people can come if they, you know, whatever. Some people I know, noisy, excuse the noise. All right. So first of all, I think you're all owners, aren't you? Everyone's got one. Anyone not got one, please put that in the chat, but I'm pretty sure you all are owners. But if you do, I don't know if you are aware, but currently our offer is a second bowl for $29 when you buy a TM6. So if you hear of anybody who is interested, is curious, then you know you can host or just pass on your consultant's details and they would be very grateful. It's a really good deal. What else did I was going to say? Oh, yes, and we'd love all of you to join our team and become a consultant. We need a few more and we're on the lookout. So we do have a lot of fun and we'd love you to do that. Again, talk to your consultant or they might talk to you. All right, so we are making a few things tonight. And first of all, make sure I've got this right. Oh, it's me to start off with. So I am going to make the beetroot relish. It's a quick beetroot relish. And we're making some different things. We've got cookies happening. We've got some infused oil. I'm doing a cookie jar and the relish. And Irene's also doing a spice mix. We thought I just wanted to get something savoury in there as well in case, because it's very easy to do all the sweet things at Christmas time, but it's nice to have savoury gifts as well. So I'm just going to go into my week where I've saved my beetroot relish. And off we go. Bring it a bit closer. All right. Now, this red onion, it says approximately 150 grams. It says cut into thin slices. I made some of this morning, and what I would say is cut your slices in half, which is what I've done for this this batch. Because what happens if you've got a whole circle is it can get caught up around the blades. So, and if you want to weigh your onion, what you can do from here is hit the 3 dots up here and hit scales, and your scales will come up. All right. So I'll pop these onions in. They're just, reasonably thin, but they're cut in half, and they will break up. Oh. It's a bit more, isn't it? Never mind. It's a bigger red onion than the one I had this morning. Next, 20 grams of olive oil. There we go. And 20 grams of my dark brown sugar. So this is all the sugar that goes in. There's no other sugar. It's just this 20 grams. A quarter of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to put a big pinch in. Pepper. And we are going to put the simmering basket on top because the temperature is going up to 120. So just a reminder that now we need to, anything over 95 degrees or above, the simmering basket goes on top rather than the measuring cup. It's also on reverse so that it's not going to chop up the onion anymore. So it's going to cook for 5 minutes. And in that time, we are going to go over to Irene Boone, please.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So today I am making cookies. One sec. Just going to grab a chair. Okay, so before I start the cookies, I'm actually going to make our Christmas spice. So let me just swap recipes. Saved it in my week. Christmas spice mix. So essentially, it has a whole swag of spices. I'll go through them. We've got cinnamon, star anise, allspice. We've got some black peppercorns, some cloves, coriander seeds, caraway seeds. We've got some nutmeg, ginger, and cardamom. And essentially, it's all going into the Thermomix. And we're literally blitzing it for 1 minute on speed 9. So I'll do that, and then we'll come back. Okay, next. So recipe detail. So because I've got everything measured, I can just jump straight ahead to the recipe where it says to blend for 1 minute on speed 9. So I'll do that now.
So just whilst Irene's doing that, you probably won't be able to hear her talking at all. Just want to remind you about host rewards. So with our host rewards, oh, she's just done it. All right, with our host rewards, we have thermo servers, which are fantastic for keeping your food hot or cold for up to 2 hours. We have the bread mat and the oven mat. So the oven mat I love. I know Anne was on the other night. She saw my oven mat. It's very brown, but it gets used an awful lot. And it's silicone, so I can just keep reusing it. And I'm just going to have a little, plastic plug here. We know now that Red Cycle is in trouble and can't take all our soft plastic. So the more that we can use that is reusable, the better. And the more that we can really think about what we're buying and not bringing stuff into the house, the better as well. So just for example, if you think about a cabbage, so I actually did the wrong thing in the week. I bought half a cabbage and it's wrapped in plastic wrap. If you buy a whole cabbage, it's not. So buy the whole cabbage, come back, look on Cookie Do, and you will, you'll find recipes. Anyway, I'll get off my little soapbox for a minute and we'll go back to Irene. So I think she's ready.
We're ready. So my spice mix is done. So really, from a cost perspective, it's so much cheaper. And the aromatics in my room at the moment are absolutely amazing. So now I'm sure you've seen these before, which is our jam funnel. I'm going to use that so I can fill up my jar. So whenever we do these classes, I inevitably end up at Big W because it's just around the corner from where I work in South Yarra. So today's bind, they've got this, and I'll show you just one decorator. So I found some ribbon. These jars are $3. The ribbon, I think, was a couple of bucks at one of those $2 stores. I also forgot I had, so just kind of use whatever you like. But I think these would look really nice as a Christmas gift. It kind of pops with that black and red. This is actually a chalkboard. So inside the jar, they actually supply you with a chalk. So I reckon it'd be a really nice way to, I guess you could write spice mix on it, or you could do something like, mum's secret recipe, and maybe even on the back of it, tips on what to use it with. So if you're going to do spice mix like this, great for cookies, great on breakfast cereal. If you're going to do other things, maybe even something as beautiful as a dehydrated chicken stock powder, which people absolutely loved. I had a CE last night where the host actually brought out, she made the chicken stock and actually dehydrated it, and everyone was so amazed that you can make that, and it's homemade, so it's beautiful. So things like that would be an amazing Christmas gift. But this one, which is actually not, we'll do it the other one. I'll just drop this down slightly.
Another tip I heard to do with the spice mix, Irene, is when you're just scraping it out, if you like, you can use a brush, and that will actually get more than, well, just a little pastry brush.
Absolutely. In fact, funny you should say that. I pulled out, this is from the mix shop as well, so it's actually the cleaning brush.
Oh yeah, great idea.
It would work. I I haven't used it for the cleaning brush, but it just, I mean, it's plain, it's sterile. But I'm actually going to make some cookies.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not actually going to wash out the bowl. I want some of that spice. So I'm going to leave, there's not a lot in there. I'm going to leave that. And it's going to spice my next batch of cookies. So why not? But as for this one, so that's giving me probably not enough to fill it, but I think that would still make a perfect gift. Yeah.
Looks great.
Or just, you know, double, triple, quadruple the batch if you want to fill it up. So it's going to look really nice, you know, set up like that. They're quite pretty. And of course, you know, personalize it with the chalk. Maybe write something that is, you know, is a cheeky message between the person that you're buying it for, which would be really nice. And it smells absolutely amazing. So am I?
So that was one batch, was it?
That was one batch.
Okay.
These are, I reckon these are about a 250 gram jar. So if you're looking maybe for a 200 gram jar, you'll get a perfect batch for each of those 200s, just so you can plan the mixture. So Big W, $3. Don't buy them all. I need to go back to Big W tomorrow and I'm going to get some more.
All right. We're coming back to me now, Boone, and then we'll Boone, back to you. Thank you. All right. So just on that, I did make a batch of the spice mix and a little spice jar with quite a bit of banging. I filled that with just a little bit over as well. So that's another option if you've got any empty spice jars. All right. So back onto my relish. So it's asking me to transfer the onion into a bowl. My onion is here with the brown sugar. Going to put all this in here. You see, it's a little bit caught around there now anyway, but it's worse when it's a circle. I've lost my spatula. All right, and it doesn't matter if this if there's any left in anyway, because it's all going to be cooked up afterwards. All right. So just on the host rewards, the other host reward is the blade cover peeler. And that's actually what I use to peel the beetroot, because you know what it's like when you hold beetroot, looks like you've committed murder. So that is a really good thing to do. It did take the full 4 minutes, which is longer than it would do, you know, peeling it by hand, but you don't have to be anywhere near it. You can be off doing something else and the beetroot's peeling for you. All right. Do not clean the mixing bowl. We're liking that. That's happening over at Irene's as well. So 300 grams of beetroot peeled and cut into quarters. So it's a little bit smaller than that. And that is ginger, which is down the track too. So, and I've forgotten to cut up my apple. So I'll just do that very quickly. It does say with the apple to peel, but I did not peel this morning, and it was absolutely no drama whatsoever. So just quickly core it though. And I even if it says quarters, you know, I usually cut that in half. I don't know what the others do, but that's my general rule. Just cut it again. Oops. And back on the blade cover, so that ginger I put in, if you saw it, I've cut it into, I've used the blade cover, I've peeled a whole lot of ginger, I've sliced it up into the coins, and I've frozen it. So I've got a huge stock, just whilst ginger's so cheap, because, you know, in the middle of the year, it was $50 a kilo, and at the moment it's about $10 a kilo. The ginger's in. Just going to chop everything up. 5 seconds, speed 7. So if you didn't know, as soon as you touch the screen, the noise stops. There's some beetroot. Just going to scrape down the sides. $20 grams of currants. I think this is a little bit more. I got a little bit carried away this morning with my batch there, so that's not that much more. I think I had about 60 grams in this morning. 40 grams of apple cider vinegar. And half a teaspoon of allspice, and this is Fermi made allspice, not very prettily labelled, but I'm just going to put some of that in. And the reserved onion mixture goes back in. Then again, the simmering basket needs to go on top. And that's going to cook for 20 minutes, 100 degrees on reverse. All right. And I'm going to actually move this over to another Thermomix so I can still access this one and to finish cooking there. Pauline is asking, do we sterilize the jars? Yes, we do. And I think Irene's going to talk a little about that a bit later on. So we'll go back to Irene now whilst this is going to cook for 20 minutes.
Thanks, Mandy. Mandy, remember we made these last year at our Christmas?
That's what I'm making. Don't spoil the fun. Surprise.
I was going to say put up the recipe. So if anyone, if you find the recipe, pop it onto the screen so everyone can see it. But that's another cookie option. Okay, I'm doing the sugar cookies recipe. This is a UK recipe. So, or actually, no, it's probably even American because it's in ounces. But as we know, it just converts it. So just follow the recipe. So this is literally cookies in under a minute. It literally is. So I had the flour, obviously my baking soda, baking powder, you need an egg, you need some sugar and some vanilla essence or some almond extract. You can use lemon zest, orange peel, anything you like in terms of flavoring your cookies. So my oven's on. The 350 Fahrenheit is 180 on your oven. And of course, every oven is different, so you can play around with that a little bit. So in with my sugar. So remember, I didn't wash this bowl. So this is just going to spice up my sugar in terms of giving me a bit more, I guess, a spiced flavour for the next batch of cookies. We're going to mill that for 10 seconds. Okay, we're now going to add the butter, which is chilled butter from the fridge. It's been cubed, so, you know, maybe half inch, maybe an inch. Close enough. Okay, with my butter. Now you're going to see a lot of recipes on YouTube, a lot of videos where they like to cream the butter and sugar. You really don't need to do that with this recipe. And the Thermomix likes it cold because as obviously the blade works through, it actually warms it up a little bit anyway. So use the cold butter from the fridge. So we're going straight in with my egg. And in here, I've also got my vanilla extract. The vanilla extract I've used today is this one, which you can get from the supermarket. It's a pure Madagascar extract. So really, whatever you put into your cookies, that's the flavor you're going to get. So use really lovely products. Sorry, next, this is a really throw it all in. So the vanilla's gone in with my flour, with my baking powder, my baking soda, and my salt. That's all in here. So in we go. Okay, we're going to mix that for 8 seconds on speed 7. You're going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. You can see that first crumbing consistency. And it's kind of like rubbing the butter into the flour when you're making scones. So you're getting that same consistency, which is really, really good. And you're not overworking the dough. which leads to spread of your cookies. So really, really important. So we're then popping it back on and processing for another 5 seconds on speed 7. And we're literally done. So going to lower my screen. So tip your bowl out, preferably not all over the bench, like I just did. And just jiggle the bottom of your blade. That helps release when you're doing any sort of dough. It's pretty good. And then you're just literally bringing it together. You're not kneading, guys. You're just bringing it, pick it up. And bringing it together. And our dough is done. So I think the easiest thing to do is to divide the dough and work in a smaller batch when you're rolling it out, rather than trying to do the whole thing onto one in one go. I definitely think dividing it. I am literally going to just flatten this out. And this is our thermomat, guys. For anyone that knows anybody that would love that second, bowl for $29, remember you can get your hands on these other items by hosting. And this is a host reward. So save yourself, I think it's $90 odd for the mat with the baking mat. Now, I'm just going to, I'm going to cheat. And I'm just going to pop these into the fridge. I'm going to work on these later. But we don't want any air going onto it. So I'm just literally, again, these are our baking mats, baking trays. I'm just popping that on top so that there's no air touching on that. And I'll get the one that I've made out of the fridge. So give me 1 second. Now in the recipe it says literally roll it out and, it says roll it out, cut them, pop them on a tray and bake. Now, when you try and do that with really soft dough, it actually is, it's much harder to work with. So even half an hour, this has been in the fridge for about half an hour, it's just enough to harden that butter, honestly, to make your life a little bit easier. And so I'm just going to pull that off. And we're going to lay our cookies straight onto our mats and bake them. Now, before I start cutting, let's show you what's available on the mix shop. So on the mix shop, well, hopefully they've still got them. So the dough that's in the fridge, the dough that's in the fridge, I'm going to make a star tower. So I'm sure you've seen them, where they do the stacked tower and they put it all together. So that's what I'm going to do with the dough that's in there. So that's a set that's available on the mix shop. They've also got a pack of 6 Christmas cookie cutters. So there's an angel, the star, or the tree, candy cane, there's a reindeer, a snowflake, and a gingerbread man. So by all means, use them all, use whatever you like. Same idea here. I've got others though that I want to work with. So I've got some star cutters of my own. I've got a slightly smaller snowflake, so I want to do some smaller ones. I've got, these sort of, that sort of edge, which are really nice when you're doing round cookies. So you're going to see all of these options, I guess, when we do the decorating part of this session. So today I'm focusing on, showing you how to dough, which we've done. We're going to cut these out. We're going to bake them. But I want to show you a couple of things that I want to do. So let's talk about some of the things. So there's a recipe on Cookie Do for something called stained glass cookies. So essentially, if you think about what I've got here is my star shape, I then cut out the center. I'm using essentially a piping tip to give me the round center. That round center, I can use colored caramel essentially to basically give me that hollow, that center that looks like stained glass. So there is a recipe on there to do that. In that recipe, I believe it asks you to make the caramel and then to pour the caramel. So you bake the cookies, bring them out of the oven, and then pour that caramel once it's cooked within the the gap that's there. Knowing me, I'm probably going to get more caramel on top of the cookies than in the center of the cookies. So I've decided. I was actually at the Chemist Warehouse. They've got these sugar-free clear mints. So effectively, you could do the same thing. So you can make the toffee in there, but not add the colouring that it's asking you to do. That will give you still give you a slightly off-white colour. So there's a couple of things I want to do. I want to do some clear ones. So bear with me. I'm going to cut. So just to understand this, I'm going to cut. I'll do this over this side so hopefully you can see.
Show a quick picture.
Hey?
You want me to show a quick picture?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've cut my star and then I'm going to cut another star.
All right. Whilst you're doing that, I'll quickly show them the recipe.
Sure.
There you go. That's the sort of thing that Irene's looking at.
Yep, perfect. And the same thing here with the circles at the top. If you want to hang them, you just get yourself a round tip. When you've got all the piping tips that you can get with bags, just use the end of that. You can use the end of a straw to give you the hole that you need for that. If you want to come back to my screen. So you can see the two stars, but effectively I'm going to cut the center out of one of them. So if you get the idea, so you've got two options. I can lay my cookie as is. So I'm going to bake them like this. I can fill sugar into that hole, and effectively I can add colouring to that. So I've got a little red food dye, which I'm going to do. And you'll see all of these before we finish today. The other option is if I use clear, I can then stick the clear on top of another cookie and in the middle add some sprinkles and things. So it'll be like one of those shaker toys that you get that, the object moves on the middle of it. So it'll move inside the glass. So let's see what they look like. So that's literally what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to pop them onto, now that it's chilled, it's much easier for me to lift these. Yeah. That's why it's much better to chill a dough, because I can literally work with that. Yeah. Much easier to do once it's a little bit firmed. And it was only about half an hour. So guys, if you want to head back, I'm just going to keep cutting with the shapes I've got, and then I'll come back and show you what they look like once they're baked.
Sure. We might go to Pearl next, please, Spoon.
Hi, everyone. And today I'm cooking. I'm not cooking, actually. I have made some infused oils. So I'll just show you what I have made. So this is chili oil, and it's got some chilies inside. I made garlic oil, and I'll just give you a brief description how I made these. Garlic oil, and this is rosemary and lemon. Where is it? Rosemary, lemon oil. So what I have done actually for the garlic oil, my laptop is playing up a bit today, so I'm sitting at my computer. So I've not
Pearl, sorry, do you want me to get the recipe up in the picture?
Okay,
You can
yes,
talk to it?
yes, you can.
I've just got the chili oil at the moment.
Okay, fine. Then I'll go to the chili oil. 1 second.
Here you go. I'll have it up.
Yeah,
You can bring it off here if you want.
yeah. So what I've done is I put 8 fresh bird chilies and the 500 grams of oil. Then you place the chilies into the mixing bowl, chop them for 5 seconds, scrape down the sides of with the spatula, add your oil. It's as simple as that. Just add your oil and cook for 20 minutes on Varoma. So you're done. So you don't have to stand there. It just cooks by itself. So it's such a nice thing to give someone as a gift. So you're making your own, and there are different flavors. If you just go and look for or infused oils, there is chili oil, there is garlic oil, there's rosemary and lemon and rosemary infused oil. So for the lemon and rosemary, I have used the peel. I used the peels. I keep them aside. And this is what happens when you join our group. You get ideas from different people, and you learn from them. So whenever I have any lemons with me, I will peel them, and I keep the skin, dry the skin and keep it. So that's what I've used in my rosemary oil. So, which is so nice to give someone as a gift, instead of running around looking for gifts and in this confusion, trying to find gifts for someone. And same with the chili oil. Chili oil is also, the garlic oil also is the same. But what I did after that, after cooking my oils, I kept all the things what remained back, and I made a stir fry, and I used all the garlic that was cooked, the rosemary and the lemon peels, and the chili flakes, whatever were cooked. I put them into the stir fry, and it gave a different flavor totally. So it was nice.
Lovely, Pearl. Well done.
And it looks nice. And I've got labels as well. So I'll put their names and give it to them. So it's something nice. I'm planning to make a small stand as well and put those 3 bottles on there, which will look really good. So that's
fantastic. That's wonderful. And I love the fact that you used all the bits and pieces as well in your dinner.
Yeah. No waste, Mandy.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we learned that.
Good girl. All right. So my beetroot stuff's still going over there. But what I'm going to do now, Irene, well, actually, Irene, if you need to butt in at any time, let us know, okay?
No problem, will do.
What I'm going to do is actually make that cookie jar that Irene stole my thunder earlier on.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So I have 2 jars here. And the really interesting thing is that this recipe on Cookie Do, it doesn't tell you what size jar. So it's a little bit of a juggle, working it out. Yeah. But I have, this was, I think this was a coconut oil jar. And then I saw this was in Target, that was $7. I don't mind spending money on that because it's something that's reusable. So it's not something that's going to be thrown away. And it's got a reusable lid. So I'm going to try in the one with the reusable lid first, all right? And I've got something else, if we've got time, I've got something else I can show you as well. So what it asked me to do, I'm actually making, look, the cranberry pistachio cookie gift jar. Asked me to put the lid on the jar on top like that. And then basically what you're going to do is layer in the ingredients. Carefully weigh in the dry ingredients in the following order, packing each layer down firmly as you go and making sure each layer is level. Well, it's roughly level. So what you do need to think about is, and they've done this order for us, but if you're making up one of these yourself, you could do it for other recipes. You do need to make sure that the fine stuff needs to be towards the bottom, because otherwise if you put it on top of chopped chips and all that sort of stuff, it's going to filter down through. So you do need to start off with the finer stuff on the bottom. And this is asking for rolled oats. Okay, so I'm popping them in. Okay. Then 200 grams of plain flour. So I've got my plain flour and that's going in. I'm going to level that one out a bit with a spoon. Sort of need something that's got a really good angle on it to push down. Okay. 120 grams of light brown sugar. I actually just layer this carefully in little bits. What I like about this is you can, muck around with different cookie recipes that you have, and cater towards the person that you're thinking of. So my daughter would have a fit if I gave her this one because it's got fruit and nuts. It's pretty bad. If it was full of chocolate, she'd be fine. So anyway, let's pop that in. And I don't think it has to be super accurate in being level, if you know what I mean. Golden caster sugar. Now, I didn't have caster sugar. Oh, I can have another little go on my hobby horse here. So brown sugar comes in plastic. And I haven't got it here. Oh, yeah. If you buy raw sugar or caster sugar, it's actually in paper. So I use raw sugar for my golden caster sugar, and 4 seconds on speed 9, and I've got my golden caster sugar. Right. Next, 100 grams of cranberries. So we've got cranberries here. Really, really difficult, and these will have some sort of preservative on them. It's really, really hard to buy cranberries that don't have olive oil through them or something like that. So, but just on that, if you're looking for coconut at all, really look at your coconut, because a lot of coconut has other bits and pieces in it, and extra sugar. Unsalted pistachios. Just got those. Oh. And then it says remove the jar from the lid. Popping it down here. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon. A teaspoon of cinnamon. Oh, I actually had a teaspoon here, all ready to go. So again, sorry, just have to get the sustainability in here. This I originally bought from the Royal Nut a long time ago. I go to the source and just fill it all up from there. So I don't buy these every time. Okay, got our cinnamon over the top there. And nutmeg. Now, nutmeg, if you haven't tried it, just grind it up in your Thermomix. I just have the whole nutmegs and you just grind them up. The only tricky thing is when they say half a nutmeg, grind half a nutmeg. That's just impossible. All right, so then it says seal, a lid. There we go. And then the recipe, it tells you how to complete the recipe. And so what I've done is I haven't cut this in half yet, but I just, I went onto Google. I looked for some Christmas borders. I found this border and I have got the recipe there written out in between. That's actually in a text box in the Christmas border. But I can obviously cut that up, pop it into a little envelope and just gift it with the jar. So that's hard to see. I've got my hand in the way. So there you go. There's your cookie jar. So that it's again, I think that's a really nice idea, which can be tailored to different people's tastes.
So Mandy, just quickly.
Yeah, we're coming back to you.
Just really quickly. So guys, I've got the cookies all done up. So as you can see, I've got the crushed up powder. So this is and I've actually put a little bit of red food dye in this one. I haven't done this before, so let's see what happens. So you want to have some that haven't been cut out. I've got some trees, I've got some snowflakes. On this other tray, I've actually got some that I haven't filled. So you can do things with jam as well. So there are so many ideas around this. I'm going to do some round ones. Let's see how they go. So into the oven, 10 to 12 minutes. So Thanks, guys.
Just going to grab the beetroot from the other Thermomix. Yep. All right. So this is cooked for 20 minutes. And just turn that down so you can actually have a look inside. So there it is. And what I'm going to do now is pop it into a jar. I do generally warm the jars. Irene's going to talk a little about the sterilising just a mo as well.
Can I just come back for 1 second, just so people can see this? Sorry.
Yep.
So I've got all my leftover from my first lot. Now, this can be reused. Generally, you don't want to roll it out more than twice. So, and again, I'm not kneading it. So a couple of tips. I've dipped my cutters in a little bit of flour so they don't stick, makes it a little bit easier to cut out. I've actually used the pastry scraper to get in underneath to lift them so that they're not distorting in shape. What I'm doing now is I'm just brushing off any excess flour because I don't want to dry out my dough. But that's basically, I'll just gather that back around again. I'm just going to tip it back onto my mat. Bit easy to do. Just bring it back together, flatten it out, pop it back into the fridge, let it firm up a little bit, and then we're going to roll it out again. The ideal would be that I was going to use half that dough, then use some of that original dough with some of the new dough. It's a less chance of your cookies spreading. So I'm just going to pop this back into the fridge, and I'm going to start on that other spice dough. So see you soon.
Thanks, Irene. It's always, I don't know what keeps doing this. Okay. Yeah, we always learn lots of things from Irene as we're going through. She's got a source of a lot of knowledge. So just a quick little tip, and I know Anne saw this, I think, on Tuesday night, but I love the funnel, but you can also use the top of your lid, provided your jar is the right sort of size, and that just sits over there and acts as a funnel. So I'm going to put my chutney in. And I have warmed my jar. Okay. Well, there we go. All right, and I'm probably not as creative as Irene, but there we go. I'm recycling a jar, and I've just put a little bow on the outside here. So you know, it's just it's actually a really nice relish too, and it can stay in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. I think it's quite a festive colour. All right, now. What I have done, so Irene, you tell us if you need to come back to you at all. Okay. What I had a look at, because of that cookie jar, I had a bit of a look online, and I found there's a woman called Bake, Play, Smile, and she actually has done the same sort of thing. She's done brownies in a jar, and she's also done, what's the other one? Oh, some other cookies in a jar, different. Oh, actually, they're quite similar. But if you find, and I'll put this in the follow-up email, I'll send you the link to this. But what she's also done is with the brownies in the jar, she's also done this for you. So if you want to give people the brownies in the jar, she's got a label or just a little thing that you can give them with how to finish off baking. All right, so that's really cool. She's done that for the brownies in a jar, and she's also done it for the cookies in a jar. She's done those. So that's done for you. You just download it, print it out, which is really cool. So I think we've got a few minutes to kill whilst those cookies.
I'm happy to come back to me for a minute.
Oh, come back to you. Yeah, we'll come back to you.
So this is the spiced dough that I did earlier. So it's firmed up quite nicely. Again, it's just on my mat, paper over the top. So I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. So I'm using the Joseph roller. You can buy other brands. The size on this says 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch. So that's a really good thickness for these cookies. So before I press it on that one, I just find it's just easier just to help move it down a little bit, just push it down rather than roll when it's really firm. And then pop your paper on. And we're looking for it to go thin. So I'm going to go from the middle out, back the other way. I'm just going to check it this way. And back that way. And we're nice and smooth. So that's ready for me to cut. So what I like to do is I like to put this, actually no, I'll start cutting. So hopefully that helps you get the right rolling pin. Obviously any cuts and shapes that you like, by all means, if you want to make the toffee in here, then break it up into powder and then use that as a powder inside your cookies. So I'm going to bake some of these too, Mandy. Back to you guys.
Okay, so whilst Irene's cookies are baking, we've got nothing else particularly to show you tonight, but I thought I might do these brownies in a jar, and because I have a daughter who will like these. But it's also a little bit of recipe conversion too. So the measurements on this are in. So if you wanted to convert your own recipes, this is just some part of what you can do. So I'm going to use my other jar. And it needs to be on there because I'm going to weigh it. But the first thing I need is 1 1/4 cups of plain flour. I've got a pen because once I've weighed it, my flour, I'm going to write down what that is in grams. And then because we've got created recipes on Cookie Do, I can pop it in there myself and just next time cook it off the screen. So I have 1 1/4. Actually, I'll just put that in first. 1 1/4. So just going to fill it all up. It's going to be a bit messy, I think, ladies. But you know, someone said to me once, "You're just enthusiastic, Mandy. You're not messy." So I'll take that.
I can't use that excuse.
You're very enthusiastic, but I don't think you're messy.
Oh, yeah. Come and look at my kitchen, and then we'll have a different conversation.
I've been in your kitchen when we were filming.
True.
And it was good. Anyway, right, I've got to remember to put this back on whilst I weigh it. So that's going back on. I need to get my scales up. And I've got 1 cup there, so that's going to go in. And 1/4. So in theory that should, oh no, don't think my maths is good enough to work that out. So there's 1/4. Okay, I'd say that was 190 grams. All right, so I'm going to write that down next to that. It does say 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. That's really simple. So I've got my baking powder going in and my salt going in. Going to give that a little bit of a mix around. So it's just the same idea, it's just a different recipe. Okay. All right, 2/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. 2/3. Oh, 2/3. There we go. And this is I did get this from the Royal. I've discovered it the other day. I've had this cocoa for a while, but anyway, that's from the Royal Nut because it's usually good quality. A lot of cocoa can have lots of fillers in it, so you just got to watch what you're doing. Okay, this is going to be right up my daughter's alley. Chocolate. Okay. Oh, got to weigh it. All right, I can't remember what was on there before. Oh, hang on, it was 188. Plus a little bit, went to about 200. I'm going to say that's 60 grams. Right, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Remind me, I'm going to tear it straight away. This. Okay, brown sugar. I think it said firmly packed. Okay, now I should have actually only put half of the flour mixture in, then put the cocoa, and then put this on, and then put the other half of the flour and then this on top. So it's not going to be as obvious because I'm going brown on brown, but all right. So that's 125 grams of sugar. And then it says 3/4 of a cup of caster sugar. Caster sugar. I'm not sure if I've got 3/4 of a cup, but it'll be as close as. Just about. Okay. So what I should have done, if I thought about, oh, you can't see. What I should have done was actually put my caster sugar underneath my brown sugar, and that would have made a better looking jar. All right. 125, 260, 140 grams. 3/4 of a cup of milk chocolate chips. These. Thanks, Boone. And even my chocolate. So same theory again. We've got you know, so the flour will be the finest, and these have to go on the top. So we've got that. Yeah, hang on. I keep forgetting to tear the scales, but I'm working. Hang on, 140. That was 165. So that's 120. And then it says 3/4 of gram, 3/4 of a cup of white chocolate chips, but they're not actually going to fit in there. But there you go. That's the idea. So that's a brownie mix. And as I said, on that website, which I'll send you, she has the links for the recipe as well. So just showing it, you can do, you know, muck around with it however you like. Well, I don't know what I've done here. Got a bit of a lump there, but you know, it's a bit of fun, and that could obviously be done a little bit better, a little bit more slowly. But yeah, it's fun. All right, Irene, how are you going over there?
Yeah, I'm going to pop them out of the oven now. We're a little bit over time, but give me 1 sec. I'm just going to pop these on the tray. So really, it doesn't take a long time. Like I'm already nearly done another full tray of cookies. So given how expensive they can be, I'm sure you've all seen those shortbreads from the UK. They can be, you know, $10 a packet.
Walker's shortbread.
Yes, Walker's. I reckon ours will taste better than Walker's. What do you reckon? That's a bit much, isn't it? All right, let's see what we've done. I'll just use this one. So I've let these go a bit too long. So that could be that the recipe is using a hotter oven as well. So I can't obviously touch the ones with the, I can't take them off yet. So they're a little bit too dark. Yeah. So I think I would drop the temperature on my oven for this particular recipe. And that's a good thing with this. So now I know the next lot I bake, I'm going to do it at a much lower temp. Don't worry, we'll still use these. Anything that's got that lovely caramel flavor on it.
They look delicious.
Will be nice at the bottom of a cheesecake. So nothing goes to waste. Yeah. So you can see the red and the clear. So the idea is I'm going to stick the one with the hole over the top of another cookie. And then I'm going to use some colored, you know, toppings and things like these Christmas ones. These ones are from Safeway, so they've got little stars.
Candy canes.
Yeah, candy canes. We've got these. So I've got holly and some red berries. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think they look really, really cute. So I'm going to keep playing. I think I'm going to keep tweaking this recipe with the center, because I can see it bleeding a tiny bit into the cookie. I'm not entirely fussed, because our next session, so on the Sunday when we're doing the next session, it's all about decorating. So I can hide some of those things with the decorating. So come back. We're going to do some royal icing. We're going to use fondant, lots of colors. Boone's going to come and have a play, so we can make some through the week so that they're all ready for you to have a look at. But we'll make some royal icing in the Thermomix and have some fun decorating. That's the best part of this. Once you have baked, if you've got some young ones or even teenagers, I think it's one of those things that gets everyone around, you know, getting excited about Christmas, and get them to come and have some fun and decorate some cookies. I can literally probably pump out, I don't know, 100 cookies in about an hour. I don't know that you can eat that many, but imagine everyone then can take some and enjoy that process, because that's what it's all about. Christmas is about time with family and friends. So Boone, when you're ready, not today, maybe tomorrow. But once
I'm ready anytime.
anytime for trying. I'm going to bake the next at a slightly lower temperature, but that's the thing. So maybe bake a couple, don't bake like I did, just, you know, all of these. Like I said, these aren't going to go to waste anyway, because these have got far too much color on them.
They wouldn't go to waste in my house like that anyway.
I love the caramelly that you get
Yeah.
from the end of them, but you can see they're gorgeous and flat. So in terms of the recipe, they actually haven't spread. So I'm just going to pop my cookie over the top. There's absolutely no spread. So if you've got cookies that have been overworked, what tends to happen is they start to spread out in the oven. And a recipe that's got too much sugar, like they tend to spread as well. So there's a recipe on YouTube. There's a chap called Preppy Kitchen, or Preppy Kitchen. He's got his fondant, his recipe for this as well. He uses a little bit of corn flour in his recipe, so I'm going to try that as well. So if I think that one works better, I'll let you know next week when we get together. But I'm going to keep, you know, playing around with this. But I do think the glass is going to look really, really nice with that clearness. So I'm excited to show you how it all comes together. And sticking them together, we can use some royal icing to do that. You can use jam. There's all sorts of things. So we'll talk all about that next on the Saturday. So it's next Sunday. Not this
27th at 4:30.
So
I'll pop the link in the email as well.
And again, if you can't make it, no problem. We're going to post it on YouTube. Yeah. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Irene. That's fantastic. So that's it from us for tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you feel like you've learned something. Thanks, Anne. And we'd love to see you on the 27th, 4:30. We'll come in on the email, the follow-up email. Might not get that out tonight. That might be tomorrow's job. But thank you very much. If anyone wants to join our team, we'd love to have you. And obviously the recording is going to be available too. And just to say thank you to Boone for being behind the scenes. Thank you so much to Pearl for making all your beautiful oils. And thank you, Irene, for sharing all your baking expertise.
No problem, guys. See you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.